Hi folks, I'm Divok, and welcome to the hero preview for Skywrath Mage. If you like watching things go boom, then you need to prepare to use Skywrath Mage when Artifact releases.
I live not for myself, dear one, but in honor of your loss.
Dragonus, the Skywrath Mage, was highly regarded in the court of the ghastly Eyrie, bound to protect their leader who sits atop the nest of thorns. As a young fledgling, he fell in love with the princess first in line to the throne, but that princess was felled in a coup that Dragonus failed to prevent after falling too deep into his studies to become a mage. He still serves, believing that one day he will be able to return Vengeful Spirit, his love, back to her physical form. Skywrath Mage is a 3 attack, 0 armor and 6 health blue hero. Even now with so many heroes, only Crystal Maiden, Meepo and Prelex kind of have weaker stats. With 3 attack, he cannot kill creeps. Although, akin to Luna, he does have ways around this, which we'll get into later in the video. With 0 armor and 6 health, a shocking 14 heroes of the ones we know so far can one-shot Skywrath Mage. And there are still plenty of heroes to come out in the near future. However, like many blue heroes, his strengths lie not with his stats, and that is especially true of a mage. Skywrath Mage's ability is Concussive Shot. Concussive Shot is an active ability with a 2-turn timer, which gives a hero and its allied neighbours -2 armor this round. This ability is beyond good. It has instant synergy with things such as Red Cleave decks. For example, you could cast this in front of a red hero and use Berserker's Call to get +2 damage on every single one of its targets. However, we could go even simpler than that. Concussive Shot will let Skywrath kill creeps, because -2 armor plus 3 damage is more than 4 health. Now of course, this does rely on having a hero with neighbouring creeps, but if you do manage to find a scenario like that, it'll even allow your creeps to be able to kill enemy creeps. There's also a little sneaky play you can use here. If you deploy your Skywrath Mage as your 5th hero, because he is quite weak and liable to dying, this ability should be up straight away, as it's got a 2-turn cooldown, and he'll be 2 turns on the sideline. So you can guarantee that you'll be able to use this ability on the 5th turn, so long as you have initiative to play him. Skywrath Mage's premier spell is Mystic Flare. For 6 mana, deal 12 damage evenly divided among a unit and its allied neighbours. Now, as soon as this was shown off, there was a lot of discussion about how this will work, and I think we finally cracked down onto exactly how this will be working. If you target one unit with no neighbours, so that's no units either side of it, it will do 12 damage to that unit. If you use it on a unit that has one unit to one side of it, but a gap on the other side of it, so it has one neighbour, it will deal 6 damage to each of those 2 units. And finally, if you use it on a unit that has units both sides of it, so it has 2 neighbours, it will deal 4 damage to each of those 3 units. Now, while this does seem like a lot of damage, and don't get me wrong, it is a lot of damage, you've got to remember, unlike a lot of blue damage cards, this is not piercing. So it doesn't quite one-shot axe, but most units will be completely obliterated by this. Not to mention, you can combine this ability with negative armor cards, such as Visceral Nasal Goo, or even using your own ability to get that extra damage out. In fact, if you use your ability, Concussive Shot, on 3 units with -2 armor on those 3 units, and then you use Mystic Flare on those same units, this will do a total of 18 damage in one card. Another great way to utilise Mystic Flare is to combine it with Red's ability to fight and kill enemy units during the action phase, to remove neighbours to get that big hit of 12 damage. For example, you could use Duel or Berserker's Call. I'm now going to go through the stages of the game, early, mid and late, and talk about the items, spells and playstyles you really want to utilise with Skywrath Mage. Now a quick note for the early game, because you're playing a blue deck, you're not going to be looking to get much gold, so early game items will mostly be consumables. So, on with the playstyle. Early on, you want to utilise Skywrath Mage's negative armour, once he is deployed that is, to make great trades and potentially control a lane. If his ability, Concussive Shot, isn't enough by itself to gain control of one lane, pair it up with cleave abilities, like Clear the Deck and Grand Melee. If you're facing an enemy who's swarming the board with lots of minions, you can even use Dimensional Portal plus Concussive Shot, so each of your creeps will be dealing 4 damage. And finally, another great way to combat that swarmy sort of playstyle is to use Concussive Shot on 3 units and then combo it with either Strafing Run if those units are creeps, or Tower Barrage if you just need to hit a mixture of creeps and heroes and things such as that. And each of these combinations will apply 4 damage to the concussive shot targets. Moving into the mid game, Skywrath Mage has probably died at least once by now, so use this time, and the fact that he's died and gone to the fountain, to position him carefully for a Mystic Flare. In terms of items, you want to look to try and get some health up on Skywrath, so that you don't keep losing him during the late game. Look to things like Traveller's Cloak or Furline Mantle for that little bit of extra health. In terms of spells, you want to be looking at slightly bigger spells that combo still again with Concussive Shot. So, Berserker's Call, as we said before, does require you to use Axe, but along with Concussive Shot will allow you to deal that extra 2 damage to each target. And last but not least, you may have already guessed this, the spell you should really be looking to utilise here is Mystic Flare. You can weaken the enemy line if you need to with Clear the Deck, or single out a specific enemy to try and get that 12 damage. Don't forget, you can use Berserker's Call or Duel to kill off the enemy neighbours so that you can finish off that hero with a Mystic Flare. For example, if there are 2 enemy heroes in your lane, use Duel to kill one of them, and then Mystic Flare the other, and you've wiped that entire lane clear. Moving into the late game, Skywrath Mage can still threaten people with Mystic Flare, but there are better late game blue spells, so make sure you put Skywrath Mage in the right place at the right time to make use of those spells. In terms of items, Hero's Cape is now an option, which will really allow him to stay alive and make sure you can definitely get those blue spells off. But otherwise, a Teleportation Scroll or a Blink Dagger can make sure that you just have him in the right place at the right time. Now onto those big spells you can make great use of. Out of things like Thunder God's Wrath, Eclipse and Echo Slam, I think that last one, Echo Slam, has the most synergy with Concussive Shot, because typically the thing that Echo Slam is going to struggle to kill are the big enemy heroes that have armour, and Concussive Shot removes heroes' armour. Now if you are putting Skywrath Mage in that red cleaving deck, the absolute game-breaking spell for you at the moment is Time of Triumph. It adds plenty of cleave to make use of Concussive Blast, and it also gives Skywrath Mage some semi-decent stats at long last, giving him +4 to basically everything. However, while Skywrath Mage is a lonely soul without his vengeful spirit, there are other friends to help him along the way. As we've alluded to, Axe and Legion Commander both work really well with Skywrath Mage, because they can clear out neighbours to set up for Mystic Flares. And of course, Axe can also make extra good use of Concussive Shot. Bristleback and his Visco Nasal Goo could also help knock down those high armor targets to help Mystic Flare one-shot any target. Skywrath Mage's final friends are those he can help, rather than those that can help him. With Concussive Shot, he can really set up for high cleave damage, and of course Echo Slam. The best proprietors of both, of course, are Earthshaker, with his Echo Slam, and Sven, with his passive cleave. However, Skywrath Mage's only enemy isn't just the one sitting on top of the Nest of Thorns. Rix and his Truth to Power Silence has high impact on blue spells, and his crazy good passive means he doesn't care if you keep knocking him down, because he'll always be back. Other than that, there aren't really any specific heroes that counter Skywrath Mage. Damage immunity can be a real problem, because he's very centered around doing a lot of damage, without having much other clear, but also burst damage from the other side, so other big blue spells, or red or black heroes that deal quite a bit of damage, can be problematic for Skywrath Mage because of that 6 health. Skywrath Mage is a dainty little flower. Let an enemy get too close to him and he might just wilt into nothingness. However, he is a huge enabler. Lull your opponent into a false sense of security before stripping them of all of their armour and letting your hounds, your allies, go to town on them. Thanks for watching the hero preview for Skywrath Mage. If you'd like to help the channel out, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget the bell icon so you never miss another video. If you like this video and you'd like to see some more, then check out our most recent video. And here is a related video we think you might enjoy. So take a look. I've been Divok of the Artificers Guild, and I will see you next time.